All right. Well, we're live. We're here, and we're going to talk some Obi-Wan Kenobi, Part 5, Episode 5. I don't know how it's episode. It's weird on Disney Plus. It's Episode 5, Part 5. There's no names to the titles, so it is whatever you want it to be. So we're a half hour early, but let's get into it in just after this. All right. Are you all ready for this? I'm trying to pump you up. I know you're not feeling well, but look, I do appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, it's been a while since I've done live. Wait, no, we did. What do we do? A live episode for episode 3?
1, 2, and
no 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 because that was just 2. All right. So I've been on my own the last few times. Okay. So we're live. If we get anybody in the chat, that'd be great. I don't know because we did go a half hour earlier than anticipated, but let's just get into it. What'd you think of it? What'd you think of episode 5?
I thought it was great coming off of the garbage that was last week.
Yeah. I mean, they could have given us anything and it would have been better, right?
Could have gave me dancing poop and I would have thought it was fantastic.
I think you're 100% right. I mean, there's no other way to go other than up, coming off of last week's episode. I agree. But I had said last week when I did the show myself, I said these last 2 episodes can't be anything short of spectacular or amazing. And, obviously we haven't gotten the finale yet, so I don't know what the finale is going to be. But for a penultimate episode, this is what you would expect.
But did we have to go through that many episodes?
No, and that's the problem. I mean, is it too little too late? I mean, this episode by all means was amazing and I love it. And I'll get into it in a minute, but you're right. It took you so long. I mean, episode 3 aside, we can agree episode 3 was also really good. But the directions and the dialogue and even the CGI continues to be very shitty. Even in this episode, I had some problems, but I agree. I mean, even if this finale is just like, topping Luke Skywalker's cameo in The Mandalorian, which is hard to do.
Or the Mandalorian's cameo in
Boba Fett. I agree. Yeah. But this episode came, I'm not going to lie, for me on a personal level, because of my love for Vader, this episode did come very close to that Skywalker cameo. But the only difference between the Skywalker cameo and this, nobody was fucking expecting Luke Skywalker to appear, let alone do what he did. And then this one, we've been expecting Vader because we knew Vader was in it. But to get what we got from him was just an absolute treat. And, like you said, unfortunately, it took 5 episodes to finally get this. So, but anything that stands out that you weren't a fan of? I have a few things. I only have like 3 or 4 things listed, but anything that comes to mind that I'm not going to say already, you might hit on something that I was going to mention anyway. Anything that you didn't like from this episode?
Yeah, it's like we're repeating another cycle from like episode 1. Why is Vera, a character that we don't really know, always the beholder of something that's detrimental to a Star Wars? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're talking about oh wait, we got a comment. Oops. Howdy, am I late? No, you're just on time. I hope I didn't lose you because I didn't realize you had commented, Mystery. No, you're still here. You're not late. We're actually early. We just started. We started at 5:30. We were supposed to go on at 6. No, I agree. And it's the same. Like, here's the thing. And the problem is you're trying to tell 2 stories. Just go with Obi-Wan and Vader. Why are you doing a side mission or a side story with Reva's arc, right? It's like, what are you doing? Yeah. I mean, if you would have given us her own show or the Inquisitors their own show, that would have made sense. But why are you trying to tell her story within another story? You don't have that many episodes to do so. You don't have the freedom to do so.
Right.
And
I do enjoy her character, and
especially. But the thing is, there was no surprise. We saw this coming.
Right.
We all knew she was one of the younglings. Mm-hmm. I had a feeling she was not necessarily doing it to get back at Vader, but there was definitely a motive of which none of us knew about. They were trying to keep it, and that way, when the reveal
We
happened,
all knew she had like a distaste for Obi-Wan, like, why didn't you save us, why didn't you protect us? But the flip of, I hate, Vader, because that face-to-face moment, that was a little bit of a surprise, I'm not gonna lie. So I did, it made me, we had like empathy for her, like, it shifted, like we all, I was like, oh, I rooted for her character. Like, I
you
had
did.
empathy for her. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, and I'll get into that I'll get into that when I go over some of the things I didn't like. Let me get into Mr. E's comment. I'll repeat what I said in GVN stream. I think this is the best episode so far. I'm not disagreeing there. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to see Anakin before the barbecue disaster. There is a meme going around with his face over Steve Carell, 40-year-old Padawan, because the de-aging wasn't whatever. I honestly didn't bother me. It really didn't. I was hoping to see him in the armor, and we don't know if that's not going to happen. We don't know if maybe during their fight, because we're getting one more battle in the finale. I mean, I'm assuming that's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe his helmet gets knocked off, or part of it comes off, and you see him half Anakin, half Vader. I wouldn't. I'm assuming that's what you meant by him being in the armor. But that was a great. And that's another thing. Like, too little, too late. Where were the flashbacks when we should have gotten that in like maybe episode 2 or 3? I wanted this type of flashback earlier in the series, not now. But it was a good scene. I loved it. And as I said, it did him looking older than he was supposed to, because I think in Attack of the Clones, he was only like 19 or whatever it was. Obviously didn't look 19, but it was fine. But that does beg to ask the question of, what are they doing budget-wise for their special effects? Like, I'll get right into it right now, really quick, because it's like the least of my issues with this episode. When Vader pulls that ship down, I mean, look how bad it looked like a show on CW. I'm sorry, it really did. It's like, what? This is Disney. Where is your budget? I understand it's a TV show. You didn't want to give us a 6-hour movie. You decided to do it in a 6-episode streaming show on your streaming platform. Where is the Mandalorian? Didn't have this bad effects. It's the same company. Like, what is going on? I mean, granted, when we first got Luke in the cameo in the season 2 finale, it did look a little wonky, right? And then they what do you call it? They fixed it up, and they used deepfake the next time we seen him in Boba Fett. But it's like, you already know. Like, what are you doing? Whatever. But again, although that was a fucking badass scene. Don't get me wrong, and I was waiting decades to see something like that on the big screen, until Rey did it. Rey Skywalker, until she did it in The Rise of Skywalker when she pulled down whatever. But yeah, but what's going on with the fucking CGI, man? Like, Jesus Christ. I agree. Should have had the flashback in episode 2 instead of the weird Exactly. Thank you. I mean, yeah. I mean, I get it. You want to see. You want some type of traumatic effect, right? Where if you're dealing with what you're dealing with Obi-Wan, you would see him everywhere. But I agree. You want to see. You got Hayden Christensen for a reason. Why are we only limited to this one episode, and you took 5 episodes to do it? But what else? What else didn't you care for? Because we all know this episode was great. So that's why I kind of want to start off with like the nitpicks.
It's hard to say things that I didn't care for, because I think in coming off the last episode, it's hard to say I didn't care for a lot of things in this episode, because the last one was so bad. Well,
the last thing I want to do, and anybody should do, is try to come off like that spoiled brat where like nothing, you just can't appease me, you can't please me, nothing is going to be good enough, and I'm not going to complain. I'm in agreement with you. I mean, first of all, this is the best episode of all of them.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was just a step above 4. This was a step above all of them, and I love 3 a lot. But even still, there were still the tropes. And I look, I'll get into it. You know, I'll just go what I have down. Reva being killed as a youngling, I mean, stabbed as a youngling rather, and surviving. Okay, I'll give you that. But now she gets fucking stabbed again. And here's my issue. You had empathy for her, right? You said you had empathy when she was fighting Vader and you were rooting for her. I thought Vader was going to fucking cut her head off.
Well, he has I think they went through that flashback to show that whole kind of to show this scene, to foreshadow this scene. Like he's got that temper. He doesn't think about things. He just wants to do what he has to do.
Exactly. He wants to kill. He doesn't spare people. He kills people. That's what he does.
No, but it's just like it's quick to judgment. Like he just stabbed her and just went on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it stabbed her and then visibly saw she was still alive. Both of them did. You know, then the Grand Inquisitor comes in and makes his presence known. We all know that was we all knew that was coming. And it's just like, oh, I'm gonna leave you where I left you, where I found you in the gutter. It's like, no, like when he had both sabers in his hands after he bested her again, I thought he was gonna pull a Dooku and fucking cut her head off. Vader doesn't. There is no reason. Look, yes, is it plausible that she survived as a child? Meanwhile, because he killed every other single youngling, no other youngling survived what she did, so she survives as a youngling. Okay, that's we'll go, suspension of disbelief right there, right? But now fast forward in front of him after she attempted to take his life. Why is she? It doesn't make any sense to spare her life. That's just not what he would do. You got him choking out fucking people, officers on the the Imperial starships left and right, just from fucking looking at him wrong. He's at his strongest. He's at his most darkest right now because of all the things he's going through. He's got waves of emotions hitting him. I just don't see why. Plot wise, it makes no sense. Like you're hanging on to this character for no reason. This would have been a perfect way to go because look what it did. It turned a character that you weren't that fond of from the start. Same here, right? And yet by this episode, you had empathy, you said, when she fought Vader. I mean, I felt nothing, but you had empathy. There's her arc. You can tell what her motivation was. There it is. Her motivation was she was trying to get close to him because she wanted to get revenge for what he did. So there you go. We finally figured it out what it was that her end goal was. And she tried and she failed. And the fact that she was spared makes absolutely no sense unless they're going to try to make a spin-off. I mean, she obviously has to die. She's nowhere in canon. I mean, first of all, she's a created character for the show, but she's obviously not around in future Star Wars interpretation.
I think that branches off an issue that I have though too is her life is spared now.
Yeah.
And now does she go to Tatooine? We know.
Well, that's the thing. Exactly. So what
why?
Really quick. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Palpatine is sitting in his office and lighting his farts on fire with exactly. Well, what has he been doing anyway? Because we know he's around. That's another thing. I mean, not that I needed Palpatine in this. I really wanted more confined. And I even said this on a previous show. I was on the side of I don't need the cameos. The only cameo I was expecting was Qui-Gon, Force Ghost. I think that's the only one that's really needed. Whether you wanted Obi-Wan to travel to fucking Dagobah to let Yoda know, by the way, so-and-so is still alive and kicking, that makes sense too. But I didn't need a show over fucking saturated with cameos. This just didn't fit it. We knew what this was about. It's Obi-Wan and Vader. But I don't know. I don't know what the end game is. And you're 100% right. What is the end game? She's going to go to Tatooine and try to save Luke? No one should be knowing about that. At least, and it is. I do like the fact that they did explain how she knew Anakin, and we also kind of guessed that. We said, well, the only other way is she saw him killing younglings.
Yeah,
it's the only way. There's no way he told her that.
Right.
How does what's his face fucking know? How does Bail Organa know? That was the other thing that I had a little problem with in the First of all, why would you transmit that? And then, like you're saying, well, you know, something about him finding his kids is like, how do you know who him is? Because
I think that was my thing too. It's just like, you know, you Butterfingers the transmission and not the 3 other things.
oh my God, fumbly hands, fumbly hands. Oh, this guy, this Jedi entrusted his lightsaber and a few other personal belongings in my possession. Oops, I dropped it. I'm not going to go back and get it.
That's what I'm saying, and I think that's the issue that I had of this episode overall.
Where was his where were his magnets then? He couldn't do his fake fucking Jedi move with. Yoda's resting peacefully on the planet Florida. Gratefully dodged the bullet and not protecting Luke or Leia. Exactly. And Qui-Gon makes the most sense. Yes. But I don't think Disney want Liam Neeson to be part of any Star Wars related show, movies. There was a little controversy a few years back. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if they'll go that far. I can see what you're saying, why they wouldn't want to be distant. But if it's just a quick cameo in a Force Ghost presence, I don't, because they obviously didn't have problems with him lending his voice for Rise of Skywalker. So I know being on screen is different, but I don't know. But what else did I have issue with? Tala. Now let's look at Tala's character. Obviously that was supposed to be
another one of those to me anyways, and I this is a weird comparison.
Okay. No, let's hear it.
It's the same it's a Game of Thrones comparison I'm gonna throw here.
Okay.
So you build up Daenerys. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
Great character, and then you just kill her off like a crazy person. Okay. You have Tala here. You build this character up. We all enjoy her. We think she's going to be following Obi-Wan to the end of the series. And then she dies like that, kind of, you know what I mean? I'm like
in a bad way, and like the worst self-sacrifice possible. Like, I get, look, if you wanted to have her self-sacrifice herself, it makes sense. She was doing it for the cause. Again, she was an Imperial officer who realized her mistakes, realized she was on the wrong side, and tried her best to right that wrong by helping out the Jedis and whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And you gave her a self-sacrifice, which was supposed to be a very touching moment and whatever. But the problem is, it was the dumbest fucking moment, because two things could have happened. First of all, Obi-Wan had a battle. I know he was deflecting other things too, but like there was one fucking stormtrooper in front of him at that point. Like, you couldn't best that fucking piece of shit and then help her out really quick. Meanwhile, she's fucking slapping other ones upside the head and they're all rattled. But the main thing is, you have a thermal detonator in your possession, and there's a hallway filled with these fucking stormtroopers coming. Hey, throw it at them.
That's what it was like. The whole setup of that whole thing was just like it was just like an unnecessary death to me.
The only thing I can see, and yet you get Reva fucking stabbed and living and whatever. The only thing I could see is maybe she thought at that moment, because she felt when she saw there was blood or whatever, maybe she felt she was going to die anyway. There was no saving her. And that's why she decided to do the self-sacrifice. But my point is, that bomb, that thing could have been used way before then, is what I'm saying. Why wait? Why did you wait to be for that very last moment? You could have thrown them when they were outside the fucking hatch. Just open the fucking door and throw it. Like, they wouldn't have suspected that. You could have taken a big part of that platoon out. And dude, how fucking bad? Let's go over this, because I know it's the running joke. Stormtroopers can't hit, the side of a barn. But you have a position where everybody was clustered. Like, nobody was taking cover. You only had Obi-Wan with his lightsaber fucking deflecting everything. They didn't take anybody out. It was bad. Like, some of the writing is very questionable. Like, they made such great decisions with the flashback between Anakin to open it up like that, right? But then to go back and forth and use the life lessons that he was teaching Anakin there and incorporating it in the same mistakes he was making as Vader. You're blinded by what's right in front of you, and then that's how they were able to escape in the decoy. And I know a lot of people were like, well, how come he wasn't able to grab that one? I'm okay with that. because there's got to be a lesson there. He wasn't expecting it. It caught him by surprise because his eyes were right there. He had tunnel vision. But my issues are you make these really good decisions and then the writing just seems to go off. Like, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that, and that's what I had with the whole Tala death. I don't think it was necessary.
It wasn't. It wasn't. I felt, not for nothing, and nothing against the character of Tala, because like I said, I liked her. I felt more for the loading droid. Yeah. Protecting her. Dying, yeah. Protecting her and shielding her.
I think we feel more for a lot of droids that die in the Star Wars.
Well, I mean, it's nothing compared to K2SO. I mean, that was the only character I felt anything for in Rogue One. But it's just like, oh, man. And now what do? Now you paint yourself in a corner, right? Now you have Reva knowing this fucking information about this kid on Tatooine. I don't know to the extent of what she got from that transmission. But now what is she going to go to Tatooine and she's going to save Luke and die trying to save Luke? Like, that's not in, like, why even put that as a story? I don't need that.
No, I don't think
no one is supposed to know about Luke at all. It's as simple as that. And Luke doesn't even know he has any fucking powers until
How could that even be a necessary plot line, though? Because Anakin doesn't know about Luke. Like, nobody knows about Luke. Why is that a necessary plot line?
There is not. Neither was Leia being in the show. But it's the Disney recipe. I mean, and again, not taking anything away from Leia, not taking anything away from the actress the young actress that's playing her. In most of the scenes she's in, I love her, but it's like there's no purpose now. There's no purpose.
Yeah. I think that, so overall, like I mentioned to you and I wrote you, is I think that's what I'm taking issue with is, they show Luke or at the end. Why?
Yeah. Well, I think, like I said, I think they're setting up that maybe she's going to go to Tatooine, maybe because now she knows that's where Obi-Wan has to go back to, or I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what the end game is, but look, I just wanted to go over the things that I had issues with. Obviously, I enjoyed this episode a lot more than I disliked it. My favorite episode, one of my favorite episodes of Star Wars, period. I'll say that. As many issues as with the issues that I have had with this show, I can easily say it does rank up there with some of the best episodes that we got of The Mandalorian or any other shows. I do. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying it's better than the finale. I'm not saying it's better than, what is it called? The Rescue? I was trying to remember that last week. What episode was it with Deborah Chow? It was called The Rescue, wasn't it?
It was, I think...
When he goes back not the rescue, when he goes back after he gives Grogu to the Empire and he's in the ship and he's like, you know what? No, fuck this. I'm going back and getting that kid. I can't remember the title, but that was one of my favorite episodes, and it happened to be directed by Deborah Chow.
I think one of my favorite episodes was in season 1.
That was season 1. I thought that was the episode we were talking about.
I don't.
If not, I know The Rescue's up there.
I think it was the second episode. That's probably the best episode of The Mandalorian. I think that's what Deborah Chow did. But
this definitely, I'm just saying, ranked up there with some of the episodes that we got from The Mandalorian. I can see this being up there for me.
The best episode.
That's what it's called. It's called The Siege. Yes. It is. Yes. It's called The Siege. That's what it is. The Rescue was, I think, the episode before the finale. Remember when he goes in a hologram and he tells Moff Gideon,
oh yeah, you
have what I feel for him or something like that. You can't imagine or something like that. That was like one of my favorite episodes, as well. But this is definitely up there for me, And if the finale can mirror or somehow even be better, I think it salvages the season to a point. But it still makes me question what was the point of the series to begin with.
I think that's where I'm feeling. Where this episode was, the third episode was great.
Yeah.
This episode was fantastic, especially.
And what's the common denominator, though? What is the common thing in episode 3 and episode 5 that we love?
It's Anakin
and Vader.
Vader, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, okay. That's the thing. This is what, six episodes? And you got 2 episodes that been One was good. This one was awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like, why you get a 6-episode series? And we're go. That's not enough for me to go, why was this show even made? It's not really telling me a story of anything.
Yeah.
I have
agree.
nothing now. I've learned nothing.
No. I mean, again, the finale, if the finale is not only good, but if the finale wraps things up and gives more context to a story that they're trying to produce.
Well, Joe, let me say something about this. You and I were not fans of Boba Fett, right?
Right. And for this very reason.
That's at least told me a story.
Yeah. I mean, not a good story, but it told us a story.
Yes.
And look, and for everybody, if anybody's watching and you're like, oh, I can't believe you didn't watch Boba Fett, that's Star Wars. I mean, not watch, like Boba Fett, that's Star Wars or whatever. Guess what? It's just, just because it's Star Wars, it has the Star Wars name on it, doesn't mean we have to like it, you know? And then the other thing, my other reply to that is, and I said this briefly last week, and it was actually confirmed. The actor who plays Boba Fett himself is actually clapping back and saying that's not the Boba Fett that he wanted to portray. And if he ever gets the chance, he wants to be the badass that Boba Fett is supposed to be. So if your own actor, if Tamara Morrison is saying that, if your own guy is saying it, why is it so bad for fans to be like, well, that's not what we were promised? And that's sort of what we're getting here. What we had in our minds, and I'm not saying, look, you know, we all fall victim to that. When you have expectations, when you're anticipating something, you sort of make it like a mental movie. Like you have everything, you make a show or a movie that you think you're going to see. And if it doesn't come into fruition, whether on the big screen or the television, you could be disappointed. But this is not what was billed. It was billed as Obi-Wan, right? And Vader. And we got parts of that. Yeah. And it's amazing. But they also, like, this should have been called the Inquisitors. It should have. Or Leia. It should have been called Leia.
Inquisitors and Leia.
Yeah. Same. Oh, that was so not only did we like the episode with obviously Mando popping in, which it didn't make any sense, but whatever. I'm not going to complain because it took me away from the fucking shit that we will get from the other episodes. But yeah, no, I'm with you. That was another bright part. That was another bright spot.
I liked any flashback that he had with the Sand People too. I thought that was amazing. But again, that just felt like two different shows.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yep. So guys, look, one more episode to go, and I hope the finale. I really do hope they stick the landing. I know there's a lot of people, and I refuse to. With anything. I don't like to look at leaks or watch leaks or read leaks. A lot of people are going around saying that, according to the leaks, many people aren't going to be happy with how it ends. So I hope it's not true. I really don't, but it scares me because of the other episodes that we've gotten. So I don't know what
possibly end.
I don't know.
What could that even mean?
I mean, we know Vader survives. We know, and that's the other thing too. A lot of people are saying
in the future. How could that possibly end? Where we
I know, and it's hard. And somebody else was saying that. I don't remember if it was Mystery or somebody was saying it in the comments section. I believe for GVN's show, I think. But when you, or maybe even in my show, I can't remember. Maybe it was when I premiered my show and people were talking. And yeah, I think that's what it was. But basically what they were saying is when you dealing with characters that you know, there's really nothing at stake because you know Obi-Wan survives. You know Leia survives. You know Vader survives. You know all these characters are going to show up in the future, right? And that's true. There really are not much at stake, but there's still other ways to build up suspense. There's still other ways to build up interest. And that's by telling a better story. Not have Obi-Wan be a babysitter. Because that's pretty much what you do. Look, like Mando, it's our new character and child, you know, and it's just like, well, so everybody's a babysitter.
Yes, but I don't understand. Like, what are you guys building up in your brains that could be so freaking horrible? You know what I mean? Like, we already know what happens.
Yeah. I just wanted to see Vader in his prime, you know, a Vader that we haven't seen before, a Vader that you can be a lot more liberal with because of today's technology, you know, far removed from 1977 where the guys were, you know, and I say this all the time, but, you know, were the stiff movements and stuff like that and whatever. You have the technology and you have the timeline now to do so. And it's a cool premise to be like, well, what were they like 10 years removed from Revenge of the Sith? You know, what was it like when they were hunting down Jedi and this and that, which is why I really hope we do get a Vader series telling that tale. Have him go out and fucking hunting Jedi. You could definitely do that because guess what? The best parts of this show were with Vader and Hayden Christensen and Anakin. And Obi-Wan too. I'm not taking anything away from Ewan McGregor. He plays Obi-Wan wonderfully, and he was the other bright spot, and the only other bright spot in the show. So, my father's here. Makes no sense how Reva wanted revenge on Anakin for killing all the Jedi and her friends. Then, in pursuit of wanting revenge, she kills Jedi. Yeah, exactly. She's doing the very thing. I mean, at what means are you going to try to attend, you know, to get your goal? Like, that's going into deep, deep cover. He'll never suspect, you know, but like you're at 10 years, you're going to tell me you didn't have one moment? You didn't have one single moment where you got close enough to try to act out on your revenge?
That's why I think there's, okay, this is why I think, like, why are you, like, what are they saving her for? Is she going to make another turn and go,
I don't know. That's the thing. Is she getting a spinoff? Oh, that's the other meme that's going around. I think, Steven, I think that's in our chat, right? If I'm not mistaken, the 40-year-old Padawan I know was, and then the second one was, you know, the meme that goes around where Vader wants his own spinoff, and Obi-Wan's like, Anakin, the Skywalker Saga was your spinoff or something like that, right? Now it's Reva's face, her wanting a spinoff, and it's like the whole Obi-Wan Kenobi series is your spinoff. But wait, yeah, I think I posted here. Keep in mind the spoiler might be BS, but who knows? We'll see. I hope it is. I really do. I hope it is. 8 years survives being shanked by a 50-year-old Jedi Master. That's what I'm saying. So you survive as a kid, and all right, fine. I'm willing to suspend that disbelief because it happened off camera and it's a flashback or whatever. But now you fast forward to, and we said this, but I'll just say it again. I'll recap it for Steven. You fast forward to the rematch, right? And she's back and she's trying to exact her revenge. She fails miserably. He toys with her. She obviously tried to kill him, and he spares her life. You know, I was saying, I thought he was going to Count Dooku her. I thought he was going to cut her head. I would love to have seen that. Apparently. And Tala did that again, by the way. That was she did it again. It's really, really quick. As she's shooting in the hallway, she kind of, like, I don't know if she slaps him in the head, but she kind of just, like, pushes him down. Like, all right, okay. Stormtroopers, they're like the joke. They're the joke of the galaxy. Really all right, one more episode left. We'll be back next week to talk about the finale and all that good stuff. Look, overall, I give this episode probably like a 9.5. Definitely high. Definitely in the 9s for me. Definitely in the 9s. The little things that I had as a critique, minor issues, but you know, it's just hard to get past the CGI. It's hard to fathom why they would spare Reva, and I think Tala could have used that detonator a little bit better, and a little bit earlier than
just not died.
Then in self-sacrifice, like, you know, throw it maybe when they were all outside, something, you know. But yeah. Oh, and that's another thing somebody brought up, and that's 100% like if you're gonna do a sneak attack on Vader, right? Why couldn't you just get really close and ignite your saber where it goes through him? Why go through the motion of lighting it up, having that sound effect, then going, ah? Like, no, he'll never know. He didn't feel that coming a mile. That show, never mind his rage and pulling down that thing and ripping whatever, ripping the doors or whatever off the ship. But that fight between him and her was amazing.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
He didn't ignite his, I mean, he took hers, but He didn't ignite. He didn't even have to ignite his lightsaber once.
Mm-hmm.
He just took hers, and it was so beautifully choreographed, and some of the best Star Wars things I've ever seen. I'll be honest. All right, really quick, the last comments, and then we're going to head out of here. How does Anakin not realize Reva wasn't dead once he stepped into the temple? Steve and I asked the same fucking thing. I don't know, because he left. He obviously knew all the other ones were dead. That's the thing. How do you do that twice? How do you let her live twice? And then he obviously knew that was the same youngling, because he called her youngling. He's like, did you not think I knew youngling? Jedi can sense living things, right? And he probably thought she would die from her wounds later. Okay, but that was as a kid. But like, why even give somebody who's obviously powerful in the Force, Reva now, I mean, why even give her the chance to survive again?
I told you. I think he's just that arrogant.
It looked like it went in the chest, right? Or definitely in the midsection, or like they like to stab everybody in the stomach.
Lower mid, like the stomach, like lower down there.
And somebody else said that apparently Qui-Gon's the only one that can't. Qui-Gon's the only one that can't survive from a stab like that. So I don't know. I mean, if you think about it too, think about this: if you get stabbed in a way where it's not hitting any major arteries, right? You can survive because the saber is going to cauterize the wound. You won't bleed out, right? I mean, I'm using Star Wars physics here. I have no idea. I don't know. That's not how the Force works.
I don't know.
That's not how the Force works. All right, guys. We'll see you next week when we talk about the finale. Kitty, thanks for coming on. I know you weren't feeling well, so I do appreciate it. Mr. E, Steven, thank you for the comments. And anybody watching this after the fact, don't hesitate. Drop a comment. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Drop a like. I see a lot. Like my last video for episode 4 got like almost 200 views, but it got like 5 likes. So that hurts. Hurts a little bit. Oh, and Crayon Dude, I forgot to highlight his comment earlier. Apparently, I'm the GOAT. I appreciate that. And Darth Maul survived. Yeah, that is true. And he was cut in half. Somehow Palpatine returned. Yes. Thank you. What was his name? Fuck. What was fucking Oscar Isaac's character? What the fuck? Poe. Thanks, Poe. Tap the like button for you. I appreciate it. Anybody else still in the chat? Tap the like button. We have an opportunity to get above 5 right here now. But look out for us next week when we do our finale spoiler review, and maybe even get into Ms. Marvel. I still have to. I got to think about that. I did enjoy the second episode.
I told you. Would.
I know I did. It was actually really good. I'll say that every time a character is brought back to life with no explanation, just to remind them where it came from. It's true. It is true. All right, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy your holiday weekend. Okay. Especially all you fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. And I will see everybody really soon. Thanks again, Kitty. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.